In this video, I'm going to talk about the language of emotions. How emotions are very misunderstood because we're stuck in our survival mode, and that to awaken to the creativity that the emotions allow is a new way of thinking. It's a world that's designed for us to see things within time and a certain kind of space, a three-dimensional space. It's a world that we need definitions for, and because it's so difficult to survive, all of our language is based around survival. Anger and fear and a certain kind or level of illumination and sadness. It's illumination that's relative to darkness. It's not true illumination, because true illumination shines in all directions and it circumvents the whole concept of the third dimension. So it's a relative kind of illumination. It's the bright ideas of inspiration. It's the highest of these common emotions. We fear our emotions because we're so bad at it. Because we're so stuck in flight and fright and so willing to attack each other that the emotions seem dangerous. And there's a tremendous amount of information to back this up. Everything that we consider religion, for the most part, is about squelching your emotions, about getting smaller, about cutting yourself short, about not coming to fruition in an emotional sense, about how everything needs to be figured out and thought of, and above all, that there's this hierarchy or this order and you are at the bottom of it and the rest of the intelligent universe is above you. This is because we fear our emotional content, our ability to feel, our ability to feel in a way that overcomes the thinking mind. We've given the thinking mind the reins. So of course, the sense of feeling is going to be secondary because everything needs to be thought out. It's chopped up into sequence and protocol and time. And there's a certain time for everything to happen. That way of thinking, there's no way we can have the kind of feeling that is available to us. Instead, we think of feeling as this small kind of way of doing things that has to do with survival. Feelings are the reflection of emotion. And emotion is energy moving through the body. As the emotion moves through the body, we get a feeling, and then we call that feeling an emotion. But really the emotion is energy in motion. It's energy moving through the body. And depending on what kind of emotion it is, it'll be moving through one of the different five senses, one of the different five basic organs. Fear through the liver, or fear through the kidney rather, anger through the liver, sadness through the lung. This is a basic idea in Chinese medicine. And because these basic emotions are tied to the body, they're tied to survival. And they're designed, well, they're not designed, well, they are designed. They're designed to give us information strictly about the body and the third dimensional world of survival. This is why these emotions are so limited. And I feel that philosophy and religion has an inkling around that, so there's a certain amount of untrust about that. We can't trust these emotions because they get us in trouble. They get us in trouble because you suddenly feel something that's bigger than your thinking mind. And when you get beyond the thinking mind, you start to know something beyond the thinking mind. Then the religious protocol and the political way of thinking and the hierarchy of this world begins to dissolve in your mind. And this is a kind of scary place to be because suddenly you're thinking for yourself. And to think for yourself in this world is terrifying because there's nobody that's going to agree with you. You'll probably spend your days fighting with others, trying to convince people of your ideas, when the truth of the matter is you're just getting a glimpse of what your emotions are about. And our emotions are designed to channel tremendous amounts of energy. Because we're only channeling a little bit of energy, that's the reason why we're eliciting small emotions, just the emotions inside of the body. You'll notice in beautiful art, beautiful music, it's channeling something bigger, a bigger emotional content. That's because that artist was bringing in bigger energy than most people around him, didn't know how to express it, so he started painting or started writing music. Inventions are like this as well. Great inventions are an emotional event that is tied to a tremendous amount of energy that was unable to be channeled into just simple creativity, and it became great creativity. We are creative beings. Our being is designed to be creative and to channel tremendous amounts of energy. That energy is to be felt all at once. That all at once feeling is an emotion. And it's not an emotion like awe or fear or courage or illumination even. It's much bigger than that. It's a kind of a knowing. For instance, when you go into a primeval forest, you feel a presence. That presence, that feeling is outside of you. That is an emotional content of all those older trees. Young trees don't really have that, but older trees have this emotional impact, and you feel it. When you look up into the sky at night, and if you're someplace where you can really see all the stars, you feel something that is much bigger than you. That is an emotion that's bigger than the five emotions the simple emotions of the body. These emotions are meant to be challenged and understood all at once. This understanding all at once, this kind of knowing that is tied to nature and tied to the cosmos, which is nature, and the earth, are really what human life is about. These higher dimensional realms of being that we can experience right here, right now. All it takes is more energy. All it takes is you not being afraid to feel it, not being afraid to channel more energy into your system and get into those realms deep inside of us that reflect the entire universe, or at least the galaxy. We can do this by peering deep inside of ourselves and through the breath, capture the energy that's around us and take it into the depths inside of us, into the very center of our spine and the very center of our bones, where these high frequency energies live. When we get in contact with these high frequency energies, something very extraordinary starts to happen. The energies of the five senses are a very slow energy. It's a low frequency energy, and it creates the expected world that is not full of too many surprises. Tick tock, time goes by, space is available. But when we get in contact with high frequency energies, they have an archetypical vibration to them, and you'll notice that things are cosmic in that order. It feels like God. It feels like the goddess. It feels like living starlight. It feels like energy that is speaking to you. And it is speaking to you in the language of light. This light language comes in folded packages that come all at once. And that feeling is like inspiration times 10. You suddenly feel something that's bigger than you, and it starts to unfold. It opens up as this inspired knowing that will direct your life in a way that is very different than the protocol of human endeavor. What this is for you, I don't know. I know what it is for me, and each one of us has a different key that we can use inside of ourselves to unlock this high frequency light, Call it fifth dimensional light, call it whatever you will, call it the inspiration of God, call it angelic music, you can call it whatever you want. But when you come in contact with it, you'll know, because it doesn't feel like the normal day-to-day human life. It has a very large cosmic feel to it, an archetypical feel to it. It feels like it's speaking to you. Now, this is the same realm that crazy people end up in. So, this kind of light can be either the beautiful angelic light, or it can be the bright beam of psychosis. So, again, it depends on how you approach it. Your approach to this kind of energy is very important. When you see it as something good, when you see this light as, this is the whole idea behind God. God is good. When you see this kind of energy as something good, it speaks to you in a good way. If you see this kind of energy as something holy, I'm not so sure what it is, then it might start speaking to you in not such a good way. So it's important when you start to channel higher frequency energies that are found through the breath. This is not extraordinary. I'm not talking about drugs. I'm not talking about fasting or going up to the mountain or sitting in a cave. This can be done through your breath. You just need to breathe enough. Long, slow, even breathing will open this door of light, this door of love light that's inside of you, and you will start to unfold in a way that is very surprising, very wonderful, and above all, inspiring and illuminating. You will start to come into contact with this feeling that says, this is what I'm here for. Now, I'm not talking about a mission where you run off and create some kind of religion or start telling people, oh man, I've got all the answers. It's quite the opposite of that. It's your own personal answer, your own personal odyssey into yourself. It is a mandala. It is a personal matrix of joy that opens up inside of you, and it starts to look like your life. You'll notice that things in your life starts to be synchronized, and you'll start to meet nicer people. You'll start to understand things that were not so clear to you before. You'll see trees and see them as something different than just wood. The bird songs will be something that is speaking to you. The greenness in the grass, the goldness of the sunshine, all of these are messages of higher meaning. And not meaning that somehow you're going to have a meaning or something that you can hold over on people. This is power over your little egoic self. And we don't want to squish this, because within our simple emotions, this is where it all comes from. It's not becoming less emotional, it's becoming more emotional. But these emotions that will evoke with higher energies are very different than like anger or sadness or even simple illumination. It'll be ever new joy. It'll be the inspiration of the starlight. It'll be the songs that the birds sing, the greenness that comes from the grass, the smell of rich earth, the sound of water flowing. All of these natural events have a message for you. And this message, above all, is that you are here, you belong here, and not only do you belong here, you are here to shine.